intertwined. Stop classing them as separate entities working against each other. This perception is no longer working with the general public. The tide is turning. The general public are beginning to understand farming in the countryside far better than some politicians. Everyone here today in this rally, across the sand and the streets of Llandudno and beyond, benefit from farming. Whether that has been able to whether that has been able to access nature, the countryside, to eat great Welsh and British produce, or to use the same place that the farmer uses to keep them going, the same pub, the village shop. The contribution from agricultural sector goes much further than producing food, but it is the production of food that pumps money into the local economy, and no matter what your diet is, it is essential to your daily living. We are losing thousands upon thousands of acres of grazing land to large-scale projects that can only be described as greenwashing. But what hope have we got when Welsh Government buy land up themselves to plant trees to offset carbon emissions, for example, in Dublin? I'm not opposed to green energy, but the wave of heat is alarming. It is out of control. 8,000 acres on Anglesey, we are marked for a solar farm. 20 acres of farming for one substation, and could go on. We live in a very, very insecure world. Recent events in the Middle East are far more threatening than previous war breakouts, and we are already bearing the brunt of actions taken. Produce. Well, they weren't completely empty. There was still some of that plant-based rubbish left on the shelf, and even that had been yellow stickered. So we were desperate, but not that desperate. So the writing is our governments do have the power to protect our food supply, yet they choose policy after policy that's negative. Whether that's old policies that need renewing or new ones that quite frankly could not possibly have been written by anyone who knows farming and the countryside. Back in the autumn, our the president of the Countryside Alliance, Anne Mallier, she warned history Sir Keir Starmer of his government's actions. She wrote to him and said, "It would be foolish to underestimate the overwhelming public support for our farmers. They are part of the national fabric. The recent budget and subsequent fallout since then, which has only worsened, risks alienating labour in the countryside and undoing a huge amount of good work that's leading up to the general election. We have been here before as a party, and we now represent the countryside to solve for labour. This," she says, "would be a disaster, and action must be taken to avoid repeating mistakes of the past. This must be ended the relationship between the government and farmers, and for Whitehall to be seen doing things for the countryside, not just to it." She ends by saying, "Farmers are not going to give up." And a long, bitter battle between them and the government is incredibly bad luck for our party, which may once again haunt us for a generation. You'd be pleased to know this is my last page. When my 5-year-old boy says to his dad, When my 5-year-old boy says to his dad and me, "I want to be a farmer," my heart should be filled with joy, but to be honest, I feel a little bit sick for him. Will this young boy, who is only 5 and has already spent a lot of his childhood farming with us, slamming and carving in all weathers, which doesn't put him off, will he get the chance? Yes, I believe he will, because he's got all you good people fighting for his future and the future of thousands of children. Not just those kids who farm, but the kids of the local businesses that depend on the sector and the children who need to be fed safely and plentiful across the nation. I'm standing here before you today, and I do not see a sector that's beaten. I see a sector that is rising in many, many ways. Governments be warned, in the situation that the world now finds itself in, it is no longer listen to us. It is, I told you so. The next time my boy turns to me and says, "Mum, I want to be a farmer," after being here today in your company, I'll be telling him, "You will be a farmer, my boy. You will be."
Thank you, Daigan, for inviting me here today. As a farmer from the Hereford, Shropshire and Paris borders, none of these councils want to pay my SFI, but they all want me to pay them council tax. We don't normally look forward to the Six Nations in our household, because if Wales wins or England wins, half the family is unhappy, and if another nation wins, we're all pretty ticked off. But today, I am truly inspired to see fishermen, haulage workers and farmers from across the UK, alongside Daigan, standing together to say, enough is enough. These Labour politicians in the building in front of us are driving this country to wreck and ruin. They are causing a mental health crisis in all of our industries. Rising inheritance tax, piling on national insurance and enforcing so-called green projects that amount to nothing more to red tape and paperwork. They are intent on finding the next nail that will finally crack our industries. But they forget we are a resilient, stubborn bunch with a calloused hands and broad shoulders to prove it. These politicians are not used to hardship like ourselves and wouldn't last a day in our industries. And frankly, they don't understand anything about the real world which doesn't involve a pen. They are pushing businesses like ourselves to the brink. And tragically, we've seen farmers driven to suicide. One coroner's inquest directly linked a farmer's death to the pressures of the new inheritance tax policy. That is not acceptable. We cannot afford to lose any more of our people. Luton is the final straw for me. These new restrictions will cost farmers £60 to £70 a head to move livestock from England to Wales. That's up to £7,000 just to test 100 ewes or lambs. And for what? There is no tangible benefit to this policy. It will cost farmers millions, cripple livestock markets, harm breeding sales, and severely damage the rural economy. Not to mention the transport industry and all the livestock. The only people who stand to benefit from these changes are those charging to do the test. Everyone else loses. Even the vets don't want to be doing it. This is yet another example of a disconnected bureaucratic policy imposed without understanding or regard for the realities on the ground. It's bad for farmers, bad for business, and bad for Britain. But today gives me hope. Keir Starmer should be quaking in his boots to see us united, not divided by borders, sectors, or politics, but standing together in shared purpose. if we can put our differences aside, like today, with Daigon i Daigon, Farmers to Action, and many other groups can be here, united in common cause, then so can others. And if we can unite, then all groups and industries can unite as well. Yes, we'll have disagreements, but if we can agree to disagree and focus on building a better future for our children and grandchildren, then there's nothing we cannot achieve together. I know if we all pull together, we will win, because not a single person in this crowd is giving up until we get what we came for. A Britain that works for the hard-working people of this country, not for political agendas, not for unelected civil servants, and not for foreign interests, but for us. Those in Westminster should not be writing the rules for our industries when they've never worked a day in them. Fishermen and women should be writing the fishery policies. The haulage industries should write its own plans. And farmers, in a world that desperately needs the things we have in abundance: work ethic, common sense, skills, family values, loyalty and resilience, and above all, a sense of humour when times are tough. It's a time for us to lead from the front in a united voice to say, we are farmers backing Britain. For too long, we haven't had a voice. And from today, we are committed to making ours heard, so we can deliver what the people of Britain need. We need to be writing our agricultural policy. We know what will help or hurt our businesses. They do not. So let's continue to stand together, not just to make them listen, but to make them act. Thank you all for coming here today and inspiring me together. And thank you, Daigon di Daigon, for allowing me to speak.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren. Hello, I'm the auctioneer at Brinkhead Livestock Markets. Enough is enough. We've gone, here we go. That phrase is echoing louder through Wales than ever before.
Any disabled staff in the public, mate?
Today, I stand not just as a livestock auctioneer, but as the voice of an industry being pushed to the edge. Our auction mats, for over 200 years, the backbone of rural life, are being suffocated. Not by competition, but by a government that refuses to listen. And worse, by policies that show an alarming ignorance of farming and food production here in Wales. Today, there are 152 livestock markets across the UK, handling over 12 million sheep and 1.6 million cattle each year, with a combined turnover of 2.2 billion pounds. This includes the thousands of rural jobs that depend on them. Yet, these vital hubs are under a threat of collapse. Let's start with Bluetongue.
Any opinion on the inheritance tax?
New Welsh Government rules
Any opinions?
for testing of livestock crossing the England-Wales border, even vaccinated sheep. The cost, £70 per test. For sheep trading in the thousands, that's simply unaffordable. And the vaccines most farmers use, not recognised. So vaccinated blocks.
Any opinions on the inheritance tax?
Sorry?
Any opinions on the inheritance
Will we
tax?
cancel our sale? Cael Martier? Cancel our dyfodol? Should we cancel sales? Cancel trade? cancelled generations of cross-border movements.
Cancel the politicians!
Take, for example, the Tame Sheep Fair down in Oxfordshire. 15,000 to 18,000 breeding ewes sold every year.
Any views on the inheritance tax?
Over a quarter of these sheep
Who'd you vote for?
come back into Wales. That is just one sale. What about the other sales on the horizon? The knock-on effect of this is unimaginable.
They don't want to listen.
And worrying.
We know that.
Misoedd ymlaen llaw, sef geith i'n parti ni yr wyn tew ar y wyn stores I gael ei gwerthu. Where will the store lambs and finished lambs be?
We're all on the gravy
This
train,
isn't
aren't we?
governance,
Yep.
it's sabotage. Dinister economaidd. Yet politicians across the spectrum have called the policy catastrophe. Yet Labour presses on. Have they visited a market recently? Do they understand the damage this causes?
Any views on the inheritance tax?
They don't. But
You're part of the inheritance tax, you're part of the Labour Party. You with us? That's good enough, mate.
we're the ones trying to run sales with little warning of legislative changes. We're the ones facing angry farmers, explaining the rules that makes no sense. A drwy hyn I gyd, da ni'n cael yn anwybyddu. We're being ignored. The very people they claim to consult. And if Blue Tongue is a hammer blow, bovine TV is a slow motion disaster. Since February 24, the Welsh Government has reimposed tight TV controls, and cattle leaving Wales farms now must pass a freshly must pass a skin test, with 60 days. Must pass a freshly passed skin test within 60 days, at a cost of around £60 per animal maybe. Snarling sales and cash flow at every auction mat. Farms are locked down for 5-10 years, sometimes longer. The financial hit, an average of 25,000 per farm per year. What's the emotional toll? Immeasurable. I've seen strong, experienced farmers in tears, not just from the loss of animals, but from the hopelessness of a policy that blames cattle while ignoring infected wildlife. In 2024 alone, Wales culled 13,034 cattle for TV, up 27% on 2023. Herd incidences have recently risen to nearly 7%. That is thousands of auction-bound beasts never reaching our range, and thousands of pounds of lost trade. Sut mae'n disgwyl I bobl gyd yn ffurfio pan mae'r Llywodraeth yn troi I cefnau ar gwyddoniaeth? How can you ask farmers to keep complying when the government itself is turning back on science?
What's your views on the inheritance tax, mate? What's your views on the inheritance tax?
No views.
You got no views that we're going to starve the nation?
Who are you filming for?
Never mind, we're filming for the public.
Propaganda.
Okay? So you got no views on starving the public now?
I'm
And
here
just
in a professional capacity,
So am I.
for a charity.
They
So
hurt communities, support systems, where mental health support today with more 6 answers, NVZs, BVD rules, pre and post movement tests, inheritance tax, and now this Blue-tongue chaos. Rheol ar ôl rheol, papur ar ôl papur, y cwbl di gael ei lunio gan unigolion sydd ddim yn dallt am ethyddiaeth. Rule after rule, paper after paper, designed by people who don't understand our world. Pobl fel y methu deud y gwahaniaeth rhwng oen storm neu rhywch barn. people that wouldn't be able to say the difference between a stall lamb or a barren cow. And when we offer our input, we're ignored. Pam gofyn I ni, os nad ydych chi'n fodlon gwrando? So I ask you, is it safe to have ministers shaping the future of Welsh farming when they so clearly do not understand the industry they are regulating? If Labour's vision means silencing auctioneers, bankrupting farms, and ignoring rural mental health, something major is wrong. And I'm with Mal right there. And I don't think it's extreme to say, if secretaries of state like Hillary Anker Davis and Steve Reed, or the chief veterinary officers, refuses to listen to us, or even each other in some instances, they should do the correct thing and step down. The minimum, at least, of the return. We are not just speaking for ourselves. We speak for the young family trying to build a future, for the elderly farmer wondering if it's time to sell, for every child who asks, a fydd na ffarm dal yma pan y ddau'n tyfu fyny? Will there be a farm when I grow up? Will I be able to go to a sale? So the First Minister, the Prime Minister, and all those with influential powers. Os ydych chi yma heddiw, gwrandewch. Os oes gennych chi gydwybod, gweithredwch. If you're here, listen. If you have a conscience, act. I bob un o'ch chi yma heddiw, to every person here today, farmer, haulier, fisherman, business owner, stand together, safon gyda'n gilydd. Dim ni ydy'r problem, we're not the problem. Ni ydy'r cynhyrchwyr a calon cen gwlad Cymru. We are the producers and the heart of rural Wales. We shall not be ignored. Chewn ni ddim yn amrywyddu. Digon yw digon. Diolch yn fawr.
Good morning, Borada. You'll have to bear with me, I've left my notes in my car. This is the last time I stood on a stage. My dad was in a hospital dying of cancer. So, you'll have to bear with me. Public speaking is going to be put to the test from Young Farmers competition days. I'm no longer young farmer, I'm too old. I'm a farmer from North
Do you have an
Wales.
opinion on inheritance tax, mate? Do
Sheep.
you have any opinion on inheritance tax?
There was a bit of everything on our farm. I think it's a rescue centre some days of the week.
Any opinions on inheritance tax,
I could
chaps?
stand here for a long time.
Any opinions on inheritance
We've been
tax?
affected by mouth, we've been affected
Do you have an
by
opinion on
this.
inheritance tax?
The TB is ongoing. They're not going to eradicate TB anytime soon either, let's be honest, because they don't follow the science and there's too many jobs now involved. There's no way they get rid of all those jobs, so we'll just carry on murdering cows. We're not going to face the badgers because the badgers aren't apparently a problem. I'll let you be the decision of that. Keir Starmer, if you're listening, if you're still here, I dare you to come to my farm and do a day's work. Follow me round, the diversification. I don't just work at home, I work on 6 different farms. I also do security, home sitting, farm sitting, you name it, I do it to cover the bills. We all diversify to keep going. We all have more than one job and more than one role in our living. BVD, SFS, MBZ, the labels go on and on and on. The paperwork is just ongoing. It's non-stop. Every time you just think you've got through one hurdle, they send us another hurdle. In our area, the TB is that rife. We never know whether we're coming or going. 1 minute we're open, next minute we're closed. That is our livelihood. That is our business. Every time we go down, there's no income. We're forced to go somewhere else to work. well done to everyone that's come here today. For every farmer that's stood here, and every fisherman that's stood here, and every businessman and businesswoman, there is somebody at home keeping the businesses going. So let's give them a round of applause. Enough is enough.
Can I thank all the speakers here today, and I hope you agree we've had some very, very good speakers with different insights into the industry. So give them all a big round of applause. Go on.
Any views on the inheritance tax, chaps? Any views on the inheritance tax?
Can I just make one?
No views.
Can I ask you all, in these difficult times, as I listed earlier, and has been said by these speakers of the problems facing the industry, but it's important that we all stay positive. We're here to produce food, feed the nation, and we'll be here a long time after any government. And you just remember that, because we're not taking this sitting down. Enough is enough. Digon yw digon. So go back to your farms tonight, today, this afternoon, and hold your head up high. Be proud of what you're doing. We're a proud bunch of people, and we should be proud. Because the countryside wouldn't look the way it does without us. So I'm going to draw things to the end now. I want to thank you all for coming here, for all your support, and let's give one big last cheer to the trawlerman out on the sea over there. Come on!
Okay, chaps, that's it. That's land's up now. The farmers, the trawlers. Had a few politicians walking past, didn't want to answer any questions, obviously. They're all on the gravy train. Nice little turnout. 9 o'clock start.